That's good.
Woo! And we are now live.
Did we open up with that? Me shimmy.
Oh my goodness.
You better edit that.
I can trim the videos afterwards. Anyway, good evening, everybody, and welcome to a Lyceum night coming to you from the Paul Spiritualist Church in the south coast of the UK. We're across the pond today to Florida, to wonderful people. We have the lovely Lisa Hynes. Yes. Lisa Hyne. Lisa is a Reiki master, Reiki tutor, and also a member of the Spiritual Tribe, is the conglomerate name. Yeah.
Yes.
And we have the effervescent, the wonderful, the one and only, the unique Mr. Ron Cox. Good evening. Good evening, both of you. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And thank you. Thank you so much for gifting us your time, your presence, your knowledge. And we're looking forward to a wonderful night with you both.
It's always fun to be with our friends across over in the UK.
Thank you. So the topic of tonight's talk is temporary self and true self. Now, this arose, didn't it, because you had a meeting in... Ron, could you tell us about your, is it church or center?
Yeah. It's called the Metaphysical Spiritual Tribe of Southeast Florida. I am studying to become an ordained reverend through the Metaphysical University. And it's actually the University of Sedona in the state of Arizona. We're actually... The University of Metaphysics is actually in 133 countries out of 194. So we're quite a popular organization, and we've influenced a lot of metaphysics going on today. So as well as spiritualism is also coming into play with us here as well. The two are really starting to merge together nicely. And with the tribe, I called it a tribe instead of a church because a tribe, everyone is involved in a tribe. If you look at a Native American Indian community, everyone from 2 years old all the way up to 98, however old, they're all involved. So it's a community. It's a entire family unit made into a tribe.
Brilliant, brilliant. And you said the magic word there, community.
Yes.
Because since 2020 and all that entailed from there, the sense of community and belonging to community, people actually really, really value. I'm just very honoured and privileged that here at Paul, our Sundays now, our attendances are fantastic. And the community feel, people talk to each other, people come in, hi, how are you, interact, and it's such a step away from, because pre-2020, and sadly still in some churches and centres, there's a very orthodox approach. It's almost the unsaid written rule. You come in, you sit down, you listen to the service, and you go home.
Right.
And there's very little interaction. Sure, you will get the cursory, oh, hello, but that's it. And it is just, in fact, when the wonderful Jack was over last year, we went to somewhere, and we were chatting and laughing, and somebody in the front of us turned around and went, shh. And she was like, oh, God. It was just really just sort of like, oh, okay, this is going to be a fun night then, isn't it?
and see, I've sort of taken the church away from the old ritualistic, everything has to be done a certain way type of service. We're using music that people know today that will lift their energy up.
Mm-hmm.
We're using, I go to the Bible a lot to do to go into metaphysics on a few of the Bible verses. Like my favorite one is Matthew 6:22, which says, "Therefore, if thine eyes be closed, thy body shall be filled with light." So what is this talking about? We have to break this down on a metaphysical level. Okay, so I'm standing there, my eyes are closed. Where's the light? Where is it? No, that's not what it's talking about. It's talking about the prayer and the meditation. When your eyes are closed, your two eyes are closed. Well, what are you seeing with? You're seeing with your third eye. Okay, you're seeing this with your third eye. And where's this light coming in? This light is coming in through your third eye. Those clouds of lights that you see in your meditation, that is energy coming into you. That is spirit coming into your body. Thy body shall be filled with light. What is light? Light is energy. Where does energy come from? Energy comes from source. Who is source? Our creator God.
Love it. Absolutely.
And if I could say, he opens up chakras. We do that at the very beginning. I do my Reiki, where we open up the top chakras through the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown chakra. So we try to do that before he even starts the service.
Brilliant. I don't know an awful lot about metaphysics. A very good friend of mine, Reverend Elaine Bevan, she is a minister, and she was ordained over in the States into metaphysics. And just by the small conversations we've had, I found it absolutely fascinating. I love this premise that everything is energy, and it makes pure sense.
It is. E equals MC squared.
Yeah. It just makes so much sense, and it really helped me shift a few of my own personal stumbling blocks when I looked at it in that way. I just thought, hang on a minute, so this is energy that I've created and I've put here, so guess who's going to move it?
I think one thing metaphysics does is, yes, most of your major religions acknowledge the presence of God. But that's where they take you, to acknowledge the presence of God. They want you to accept God. Well, how does God work within me? Mm-hmm. That's the part they don't give me. How does God work within my being so I may become closer to God? Metaphysics breaks it down, so we're not looking just at God. We are looking at self, okay? Where self is the ultimate. We can't place blame on anyone else anymore. We have to look at ourselves. We can't look at anyone else for our shortcomings, insecurities, whatever we've gone through life. We have to look at ourselves. Maybe it happened when we were a child, and maybe we took this on as a child, the responsibility that should have been belonged to the adult. And in metaphysics, we look at how do we get rid of that energy? How do we sublimate that energy so it can no longer affect our future course?
I call it shadow work. The shadow work is very important.
It is. We're acquainted with shadow work, but that what you were saying about itself, because that was one of the biggest things that I've taken away from my very limited knowledge of metaphysics. You know, we hear people saying, "Oh, I'm like, I'm a complete bitch because I'm an Aquarian." Well, no, actually, you're just a complete bitch because that's what you've decided to be.
Yes.
That's what you've created.
Absolutely.
You know, we're really good, aren't we, at being the passive victim of circumstances around us, whereas each and every action, even though it may be a reaction, comes from self.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people are stuck in the victim role.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they will not take responsibility for themselves.
But it's hard to step out of the victim role when you operate in a victim society. It's like nobody knows how to be a survivor anymore. You know, what happened to being a survivor? What happened to taking responsibility for your actions? It's time. We're not, I feel like this, it's all about me world is starting to break apart.
There's severe fractures, aren't there?
Yes, there are. And that's what Ian, as you know, I've studied spiritualism. I've studied in the UK at Arthur Findlay. I love it. I love both of them. I see both of them really starting to form and come together.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they have it. Quite honestly, they operate basically on pretty much the same principles. But if we get into this temporary and true self, okay.
Before we do, very quickly, there is a question here, and I think this is one.
I'm not seeing the questions.
Have you got the comments highlighted?
Yeah.
You want to turn it over?
Oh, sorry, it's going to take a minute.
You want to take that?
No, Lisa, that one's
There we go. Okay, sorry, James. Is there any way to access the third eye?
Because Lisa mentioned earlier about opening the third eye, so James is just
I mean,
asking, is there any way
in
to
the
access?
process, and one of the things that started me on that journey was I kept hearing about fluoride that crystallizes the third eye. And I stayed away from like toothpaste, and I'm into distilled water now, different things that fluoride, I mean, over here, fluoride's in everything. And that's a whole other topic. But meditation is very important to be able to open the chakras, the 7 main chakras. That's a whole other topic. I don't want to get off of what you're talking about. But the third eye is very important in being able to open up into the spiritual realm. And meditation is the beginning of that. But then also you have to be careful what you're taking into the body. And fluoride's a big one right now that people are becoming aware of. You might want to Google that.
Yeah. And very
another good way to access the third eye is I always get the word wrong. Are they the fellatio beats or?
You're talking about the sound therapy?
Yeah, the sound therapy. A lot of different music now has the megahertz that will send the vibrations to help decalcify that third eye.
And then I also
and help open it.
I tap it a lot to help wake it up a little bit before meditation.
But I would suggest, James, that maybe you find a group of beginners in meditation and who's looking for this path and start out very slowly.
Yeah.
And I know being slow can be boring, but you can open up your third eye to things that you may not want to see. So you need to learn how to ground yourself. You need to learn how to properly go into meditation. And if you're in the UK, James, I know you have a lot of access to that over there.
Yeah. I've just put a link in there, James, because you've asked about what are the 7 main chakras. So there is a Google link in there just to follow up and peruse at your leisure.
Can I just say, in layman's terms, you can look at the body as a biological computer, and the 7 main chakras are those openings to help get you elevated and awake. It helps wake you up.
It's
So-
like the startup process for a computer.
Yeah. I call it the base of your intuition.
Yes. Yes.
You know, people say, I've got a third eye. I say, well, do you get the feeling about things? Do you get, you walk up to somebody and just think, oh, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, well, I think you'll find that is part and parcel of your sensitivity, which we express as a third eye, but it's just that unfoldment we go through. Lovely Phil Shaw comment from earlier. This is aligning with my own studies in Jung's analytical psychology and his premise in metaphysics.
Yes. And Jung is quoted quite often in my studies. The metaphysics use a lot of his writings.
Yeah.
And the vibrational levels, the key is to vibrate higher.
Mm-hmm.
The higher you can vibrate, the easier it will be for the higher realms to be able to meet you halfway.
Yeah. And the thing to emphasize with that as well is this is not something you learn from somebody else. This
Correct.
is something you evolve yourself.
Yes.
It's an
And
inside job.
James, if I may, please make sure if you're looking for a teacher, you get a highly qualified teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Please.
Highly
I would-
priced doesn't mean
I would rather you learn good habits than bad habits in the beginning.
definitely. Just going to pick up very quickly on just one comment here. Good evening, Ian. Nice of you to join us there. No, there's no join link. It is just seeing the lovely two from Florida, my ugly muck, and listening along with her. So thank you for saying that. Right. Now then, James, we're asking a lot of questions, which is absolutely wonderful. If you can, pop down to the church and we will go through a lot of these questions with you, because this is going to be an evolving conversation, I see, which is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Stay on the path, James.
Yeah. The topic of tonight, true self, the real self.
Okay.
Tell me about that.
Well, before we get started here, let's open this liturgy portion up with a little opening prayer
Wonderful.
to help bring everybody into center. Divine presence of God dwelling within our being, we come to you to acknowledge your presence in our life on a daily basis, to acknowledge your guidance, your love, and your understanding. As we begin to speak on the true self and the temporary self, we ask that all of those who are listening to this broadcast, that they open up all channels in their body, open up to receive you, to receive your light and your love, that they may be lifted up from whatever situation they may be in. And we ask this in your loving name. Amen.
Amen. Beautiful. Beautiful.
So, through my course of becoming ordained, I have been on an incredible journey. I've learned a lot about myself. I've dove deeper into myself than I ever thought I would. And now that I'm able to actually put it into practice and see it into my own life. And what I'm talking about are the two parts of your being. There is the temporary self, which is me, I'm going to use for example, and there's the true self, which is Lisa, my shining light, okay? So my temporary self wants to experience everything in life that I possibly can. It doesn't matter, good or bad, does not matter. That's what the temporary self is here to do, to experience this life to its fullest. The true self, which is you call soul, spirit, higher self, God. There are many different terms placed on the true self. But the true self is actually the part of God that we need to talk to. Okay? The true self is always seeking the temporary self to form the connection, to form the oneness, to form the unity. While the temporary self is out there absorbing all of this experiential knowledge so it can take back to true self. Because temporary self doesn't realize that it is already connected to true self, and there's nothing that we need to do except communicate with true self. Okay? But we put up a wall right here. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Why would God speak with me? I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not lucky enough. Why would God speak with me? Well, the thing of it is God is speaking to you. God is speaking to you through true self. As we put up so many walls here, we can't hear it. God's in a soundproof booth. We cannot hear it. It's that moment, like I said earlier, Matthew 6:22. For if thine eyes be closed, thy body shall be filled with light. So when you're in meditation, this is when the communication starts. Okay? This is when the unity starts. Okay? It takes a while for true self to get into my ego or get into my temporary self. Because even though God is here, we don't believe God is here. We believe that God is up there, over here, somewhere else, but never with us because we don't feel worthy to receive. Okay? But there's a way to take care of that, and that's through meditation. And it will help the temporary and true self become more closer and closer to one. And what separates us are our negative personality traits. And those negative personality traits are worthlessness. I'm not pretty. I'm insecure. I don't have enough money. I don't. But God is here saying, you do. You just have to know how to connect. The funny thing is people go around saying, I pray for abundance all the time, but abundance can never find me. But never realizing we're the ones in the way of abundance. Because this connection right here is what supplies that abundance. Just like we don't pray for money, we pray for prosperity, because prosperity includes everything, including money. Okay? Just like everybody going out there, oh, I want a relationship. Well, first, do you have a relationship with yourself? Secondly, do you have a relationship with your true self? And thirdly, have you worked on those negative personality traits to bring you closer and closer to God? And I'm telling people, don't go out there and look for love. Go out there and look for life. Because when you look for life, love will find its way.
Yep.
So one thing that I've suggested to my tribe members, I'm sorry, I felt like I was on the podium there for a minute. Woof! The energy really built up. What I talked to the tribe members about is when you're going into meditation, ask God to reveal those negative personality traits to you. And to also ask to show the karmic causes. Because sometimes things happen in our lives that we don't understand where they came from. They could have come from childhood, and we were too young at that time to even realize something happened then. Because your personality is formed by the time you're age 5. So you've already learned your entire personality in the first 5 years of your life. So if something's going on here and you need a negative personality trait removed, let's look back here. Where did this come from? Okay, now we know where it came from, realizing that it doesn't belong to you and asking God to remove it. Please remove this negative personality trait to me. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to somebody else. Remove that energy from me. And you will see changes. I've seen changes in me just by this simple meditation. And I always go into a meditation beforehand with my prayer, my acknowledgement to God, that I know only you can remove these personality traits. And they will be removed. It's incredible. Just what I've experienced going through this class, and just with this temporary and true self, to be able to see that and look and to be in that objective point of view when you're walking throughout your day. Are you being your true self, or are you being your temporary self? Because when you take that temporary point of view, you can see which one you're being.
Very true. With the premise there about when you take it to God to remove that, is there also the potential within that same energy that actually realizing that about yourself,
Yes,
empowering you to,
yes,
and to be aware of that?
yes.
Myself on my journey, and a lot of people come to me with confidential things, and only once did something come out, and I thought, oh my God. Whereas, you know what, before I would have been over the garden fence. Do you know what? But that part of me isn't there anymore. You know, people can talk to me in confidence, and that confidence stays with me. And when I nearly slipped up, it was like a real body blow to me. And I was more surprised by that, about how deeply that affected me, of nearly betraying a trust, and the impact it had on me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is interesting. This is interesting how we evolve, and this is what we're doing. We're evolving all the time. You know, energy is movement. Movement is energy. Movement is life.
Right.
So we've got to keep doing that.
It's
question here from Jordan K. Would you have to go through a church medium to remove negative personality traits, or is it something you can do for yourself?
Well, Jordan, you can do this yourself.
You're supposed to do it yourself.
You're supposed to. This is an inside job. This is for you to work on. And again, what I do is I go to my altar, I light my candles, I light my sage, I say my prayer, and I ask God in the prayer to remove the negative personality traits. Because remember, the prayer is the acknowledgement of God in your life. The prayer is not the two-way communication. Prayer is a one-way acknowledgement of God. It's the meditation When you go into the meditation and you're focused on removing those negative personality traits, that's when the two-way communication between you, true self, or God start doing the work together. You're acknowledging that you already have this in you, and you're asking him to help remove it, him or her, whatever you'd like to say.
Yeah.
So I would say you could do this on your own.
Recognizing that you have these defects, like jealousy, pride, whatever it may be, that is getting in your way of what I call the sunlight of the spirit, to allow God to work through you in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And once you've been blocked, that's the shadow work, that you have to meditate and listen to what God is telling you. And God comes through people, places, and things to give you your answers of how you can do this for yourself.
Yeah, well explained. Thank you. And it does raise something that does continually come up, and I never ever tire of answering this one question. We're all looking for the end result, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
We're all looking for where we're headed, where we're going, where we're going to get. But that is a movable feast, because that is made up by our journey into getting there. And it's
Absolutely.
not. People can open doors. People can give you ideas and thoughts and techniques to try. But at the end of the day, the person who's responsible is the person who stares back at you from the mirror.
Exactly.
And that's where it's got to come from. So, yeah.
Yes.
We've got another one. Matt Harris. Good evening, sir. Evening, Laurie, Ron, and Lisa. Loved tonight's discussion. Thank you. I've found since starting my sobriety, I connect to my true self more, my vibrations higher, and able to manage heavy energies better.
Well, congratulations on your sobriety, Matt. I know that is a true accomplishment. But it sounds like you're clearing out the obstacles. You want to know who Matt is, and you're really working on Matt. And congratulations with that. The heavier energies, I would think it's from the I would definitely think it's going through. I didn't want to say the word alcoholism. I don't want to say that, because I was looking for a better word with whatever situation you were going through. I'm sure that energies were very heavy, because it sort of creates a depressed state within you. And now you're lifting, by looking at all of these, you're lifting yourself up. Your vibration is higher and lighter.
I call it self-bondage.
Yes.
I'm assuming you're doing the 12 steps. And that honestly is the way I was able to find my higher power, was through the 12 steps. It's a simple way to be able to connect with the higher power. And that's what started my journey. The self-bondage of being able to get out of self with the addictions, that goes into a whole other topic of, the dark forces, whatever you want to call them. We're our own greatest enemy. We fight within ourselves.
And look, the dark forces, I mean, there are people we're walking by on the street every day. There's, with a lot of negative people out there, could be some heavy energy to manage, especially when you're going through that. I've done the steps and they're amazing. 18 years sober. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So.
And that goes back to the sunlight of the spirit, because, we are a temple. Our body is where our higher power, as Ron described, lives. And we have to give this a clean house where the spirit can come into and work with us and work through us. So cleaning out the rooms inside is what you have to do.
And, one thing about this self-discovery on metaphysics is when you think you've discovered that negative personality trait, you could probably take it even deeper, because it probably goes back even further. I always tell students and clients, let's take it deeper, let's take it deeper. Always be on, just like when mediumship, you want that evidence. We want to know all that true underlying I lost my train of thought. But anyway, we want to, never mind. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's all right. We all have our mature moments.
Yes. Yes. That wasn't one of mine.
Oh, well.
An underwear shot.
As I said, I have looked into metaphysics to no great depth. The one thing that I remember pulling myself back up, because when I first got into it, I thought, you know what, treating everything like energy, I am finding, as I said, it's removed a lot of my blocks and really helped me understand people around me as well. But I did pull myself up because it was a non-emotional energy. When you're working with energy, there is no room for emotion there. And I just had to go, oh, careful, careful, careful. Don't go too deep into this. Keep that balance between my spiritualism side and my metaphysical limited understanding. And combining the two has been very successful. But this whole premise that everything is energy. And like you said, you just said something which all spiritualist mediums should do, go deeper. Go deeper. When we have a communication, we don't just say, oh, show me a kipper. Why are you showing me a kipper? What's the story behind that? And you just got to keep going deeper and deeper to get that story out.
And your ultimate goal is to become the observer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got a comment here from Sue Townsend. Society taught the illusion of separation and division from source. Now we are remembering that we are spirit utilizing a human form as a vehicle by which to experience life and love, which we are, and that spirit surrounds and permeates every being through the air which we breathe, the waters of life, the fire light within. Earth manifestation of form, also the earth and beyond, God of our own understanding and all consciousness.
Well said.
Very well said, Sue. Very well said. And I would even take that a little bit deeper. It wasn't just society that created the separatists, the separation of God and man. It was actually Christianity that created it. Because Christianity wanted you to go to their ministers, their preachers, their priests, the popes. That's where they went. We had all these teachers because the pagans were around a lot longer than the Christians were, and the pagans were already connected to God. So I would look at that as it really was Christianity that separated us from God.
Religion in general, and
religion
and the rules it placed on us of how we were to connect to that higher power.
Indeed. I've studied the Quran and the Torah, and you can see where the will of man has been written into the words.
Right.
You can. It's just there to see. If you read any of these religious texts, I mean, in the Quran, nowhere in the Quran does it say go out and kill your enemy.
No.
It doesn't say that. Yet we see these atrocities.
Well, and it's even lighter atrocities than killing man. What about just the word? We have one person, and nothing. I'm not saying anything bad about him because I know he did a lot of good for the world. Billy Graham is on a commercial telling the Bible was written by God. I'm sorry, but the Bible was not written by God. It
Which
was written by man.
As
You
I say,
know?
there's a very easy thing in there, isn't it? Which version?
Which version? Exactly.
There are hundreds.
Exactly. I want to be close to the God that I know, not the God that man made up.
And that's a personal journey. Everyone's going to take that journey individually of how they're going to be able to connect with their higher power.
Very true. Comment here from Phil Shaw. Ron, you mean getting into the subtext of the message rather than superficial content? Exactly what Lauren is describing and the way he's working mediumistically. But it is, isn't it? Because we dig deeper. You know, we do tend to gloss over things. We do tend to take the I'm fine as being, okay, you're fine. But actually, you can just see it, sense it, feel it. But really not fine. Or we do it ourselves, don't we? How are you? I'm wonderful. And inside, I'm just thinking, oh, God, I just want to die.
I'm a mess. Yeah.
If I have one more thing, I'm going to jump out the nearest window.
But it's also those little self-talks that we do to ourselves that separate us from God.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're making the chasm wider. We have to step back. And I mean, people are going to do what they want to do, but I step back and I'm looking at myself more through the objective point of view. How am I operating today? Am I my true self or am I temporary self? Now, if I'm being a raging bitch, I know I'm being my temporary self and I need to go meditate a little bit. Okay?
I would never have said that about you, Ron.
Oh, I would.
To your face.
1,000 times a day. But I'm a fun one.
But it is true, isn't it? You know, and I've said often recently, and this is just the way conversations go. And I'm finding this very intriguing about this time because there seems to be a similar thought going round and round the world, and then there's another thought. So conversations, you just keep thinking, hang on, I've just had this conversation, or I've just had this statement, but obviously it's there in the ether and we're picking it up. You know, as human beings, we have this thing that we want somebody to blame or somebody to save us.
Yes.
So we have a bad day. You said a very rude word then. We have a bad day or something terrible happens in our life. Why would God do this to me?
Right.
You know, or we turn that around as well. We have what we hear of, especially in wartime years, of foxhole conversions. God save. I've never talked to God in my life, but God save me now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's this because we want that. We want to sort of like hand over. Oh, this is interesting. We want to hand over our power to somebody else to do for us.
Yeah.
But the lesson we've got to learn is that power is here now, talking, and everything that I do, everything that I say, everything that I undertake is creating my world around me. And if it goes right, happy days. If it goes wrong, what have you done wrong, Lawrence?
Exactly. And you just said something very key there. Why would God do this to me? Okay. But before you get to that question, we need to ask ourselves, why would I do this to me? Because we're created in God's image. We're co-creator. We are part of God. So why did I do this to me? What type of negativity did I put out a week ago, a month ago, for this to come back this way?
Yeah.
Okay? Because I'm the one that created this situation. Nobody else created it. I created it. And the thing of it is to be in an objective point of view. Yes, somebody's a bad driver and you give them a little one-digit salute. Okay? So immediately realize that and say, he's probably having a bad day too. I sublimate that negative energy because it's literally going out to your auric field and being reflected back into you. Okay, so you're doing the negative portions to yourself. Nobody else is doing this to you. God is not doing this. Why am I doing this to myself? Is the question we should always ask.
And the outside view is a reflection of the inside you, keeping it simple to that effect. So, and if I have a problem with you, what's wrong with me?
That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah, well, it is. It is because you look at everybody as a reflection of yourself. Okay. Well, I don't know what it is about you, but you just rub me the wrong way and I can't be in your energy field. Maybe it's not their energy field. Maybe it's yours.
Yeah.
I know that if I meditate too much, my vibration becomes so high that I become full of anxiety. Okay, because I'm on this quest and I just want to get this quest. I want to reach that end point. But putting myself in that situation to where I'm full of high anxiety is really only pushing myself further away from God. That's all I'm doing. Because now temporary self is full of anxiety, while true self is sitting here all calm saying, see, I tried to tell you this once before, but maybe you'll listen this time. Okay, but we eventually get it. We eventually see that objective point of view, and we eventually start changing our behaviors and our words and learn when to sublimate that energy, to get rid of it, and then turn around and give them blessings so positive energy can come back to you as well, going out to them.
Yeah, that is true. And it is difficult to master. And we continually fall off the horse every now and then. We have moments and we walk away thinking, oh, God, why did I do that?
Well, if everybody walked around being their true self, high energy, high vibration, lots of love, everybody would be the same and it'd be a very boring world. That was the purpose of the temporary self. So God could learn from us through soul, spirit, God, higher self, whatever term you want to put on true self. Okay, this is how God experiences, and this is how God learns, and this is how God adjusts the course in your life for the things you're trying to manifest.
And remember, we planned this. We're in a dimension of polarity. We need the balance of the two because we can't read this stuff in a book. We have to experience it for soul's growth. So this is something we planned this. Sometimes I question why I planned this, but
and Julie Coswell, you're absolutely right.
What was that?
It is. The most important principle in spiritualism is self-responsibility. It is, because right there, you're going into the universal law of cause and effect. That's it. That's the fundamental law of cause and effect. My negative words are causing me to have the effect 2 weeks later of a very bad day.
Yeah.
So if we would have sublimated those negative words 2 weeks ago and then give that person a blessing, positive energy would have led to a very good day today.
Very true. Very true. And we do time and time again neglect that thing that we are the creators. We are creating our world around us. And if you're going to walk around being a right grouch, if you're going to walk around biting everybody, then you can't sit there and question, well, why am I so miserable? Why haven't I got any friends? Because you're an a-hole. It's as simple as that. if you stop being that, then actually, do you know what? Your world will change.
Yes, it will.
And Phil said the balancing of opposites, young again.
Yes,
And again,
absolutely. Well, look at Buddhism. The balance, you got yang and a balancing of opposite. We got the universal laws of cause and effects with us. We got the yin and yang with Buddhism. I mean, it's all about balance.
Yep.
Everything is about balance. And then when we look at the Trinity, that's all in balance, mind, body, and spirit. If one is out of balance, the other overcompensates. Then what happens? It puts the body at a dis-ease, not disease. The body is not at ease. And therefore, when it is not at ease, it has to overcompensate. And when it overcompensates, that's when anxiety, aggression, self-centeredness steps in. That's the overcompensation until you balance it back out.
Yeah.
Through meditation.
Yeah. Time and time again, you see things caused by the lack of balance.
Yes.
We're seeing it within the movement or ancillary to the movement at this time, where people are just getting so focused and gripped by one aspect of whatever movement, not just spiritualism, but further afield.
It applies to all aspects of life.
Yeah, it becomes an unhealthy obsession.
Yeah.
The only difference between us and normal society is we've woken up to the spirit within. We understand that there is something greater. We know that there's a way to connect to this. We know that there's a way to make our lives more balanced and full of prosperity. Where others, they don't. They don't learn this in the church. They don't learn this through the Catholic, Baptist, Methodist, Lutheran, Presbyterian church.
Very true. There's a comment there from Phil. Sure, you got it wrong.
Thanks, Phil. Not sure what you're talking about there, but thanks. I love it anyway.
Do you need a cream or something to put on it?
You know,
James Trax. I think self-responsibility is just an all-round thing that should be applied to life in general.
You're 100% right, James, but we're in a society now where it's all about me, and hopefully we're getting out of it soon because it's driving me crazy.
Well, and I'm seeing more and more of what you were talking about as far as waiting for this savior to come back and save me, not taking responsibility for my part of it.
Yeah.
And that's in everything. Everybody's just so self-absorbed and they cannot see outside of themselves.
And you did a little demonstration there when you were talking about that, Lawrence, and I don't think you realized it, but you said everyone's a victim or everyone wants a savior. But if you look at my hands, they're forgetting about the man in the middle or the person in the middle.
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
You know, it's...
This is very good. Thank you, everybody who's chiming in tonight. Really good, healthy discussion and debate about things. Where next with your tribe, Ron? I mean, what idiot said to you you're going to be running your own place anyway? Ho ho. I mean, what cheap storefront psychics?
I don't know, but I know this cheeky dude over in the islands. I think they call it Great Britain. He goes around as Thor half the time. He made this crazy suggestion, and lo and behold, I end up with my own church, my own tribe. And I said I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to do it. And here it goes. And that's one thing there too, because this fell into my lap.
Yeah.
This was not supposed to happen. I was not ready for it. So be careful what you're asking for and be ready to receive it, because you will. And you will receive it when you least expect it.
And don't define it. Don't
define it. Let it flow and let it be organic. Let it flow. Let it go into what it's supposed to go in. Don't force it. Don't rush it. The guy who it's actually, we have it at the Quaker house, and every time I go up there, he's like, "Do you know how many people is coming this time?" And I say, "No, God does. I don't." And we've grown in numbers every month.
Wonderful.
Because one of the basic fundamentals in metaphysics is realizing that there is nothing that you have ever done in your life that God has not been there and done this with you. Okay? Everything you've ever had, everything you've had, everything that will be, and everything you want, all must come from God first. Because even if you force it to fit, it's not going to last. It's going to fall apart.
Very true. Very true.
And that's what I said when this fell into my lap. Well, God obviously wants me here, so I'm going to continue creating this, and God is going to take it wherever it needs to go. I don't consider myself, I tell this to the group, I'm not the leader. I'm a facilitator. Yes, I may be up here giving liturgies and talking to you and helping, but I'm not the leader. I'm just a member of the tribe. That's all I am.
Yeah. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What a wonderful evening.
Wow, that was an hour.
I know.
Flew by. That was awesome.
I know.
Awesome discussion.
Wow.
I've enjoyed
that was amazing. And it was made even more amazing by the people joining in tonight. So
yeah, excellent question.
Stuff coming out of them, and well done. Well done. You know, don't be afraid to ask.
You know, all I got to say is when we're out there doing our healing, our mediumship, our tarot, our oracle, whatever we're doing, are you bringing spirit in with you? Are you teaching about God when you're meeting with your people? Are you bringing spirit into what you're giving out?
Yeah.
And those are all tools, another way to communicate with spirit.
Is that I or we that is talking from the platform? Is that I or we that is organizing something? Is that I or we is giving healing?
Right.
Right.
Ultimately, we're all one. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. Right. Now, really mess with our heads over here in the UK. It's about 2 degrees over here. What is it over there?
It was 86 when I came in here.
Go away.
Beautiful day.
Just go away.
Well, actually, it's 89 degrees right now.
Oh, shut up.
Hey, you know I'm having a party next weekend. I invited you over. I said there's a bed for you. Everything's all there. When are you coming to see us in Poole? I would love to come there, Sarah. I would love to come there.
I'm ready.
Yep.
There's a
Yeah, probably be, I'm thinking maybe within the year.
Nice.
And then we're going to have to get you to come over to ours.
Yay. Bye, everybody. Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were signing off. I'm like, oh, bye.
No, this is fine. What a wonderful, wonderful night. Thank you both so very much. Lisa, well done. Well done, you.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it very much.
Good. And I love it because, when we do these things, we do grow. Even when we get thoughts or comments that we don't actually agree with, make us think. And that is, as long as we can handle it in that, okay, well, right, I've got my viewpoint on that. That's wonderful. I think that's wonderful.
May I put in a shameless advertisement?
Well, this is not the over 18 store, is it?
No.
That's all right then.
If anybody would like to reach out to me, I do connect via Zoom, via phone. However, my website is the letter I, the letter M, as in Mary, roncox.com.
Could you say that again, Ron?
I, M as in Mary, roncox.com.
So I'm just getting it up. There we go. And I can pop the link into the chat. There we go. So I've just put the link into the chat.
Oh, okay.
If anybody wants to contact you, they can do by.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Thank you. I'm here for anyone and everyone.
Okay, you're 5 hours behind us, so don't forget, everybody, phone him up about 8 in the morning. That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah. You wait, because I'll be calling you at 8 at night, my time.
That's when the answer phone kicks in. It's been
We really do have there really is a lot of love here between the two of us, okay?
Oh, yeah. It's a definite romance going on. Getting the two together, it might be two critical masses coming together too quickly.
Yeah.
A bit messy. But it's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you. Next week, we have Sandra Michelle Atherius with us talking on our Lyceum night. Sandra is a medium. She's very, very active in the UK, and she's been invited to do. She's recently at the Janet Novacek's church over in Jersey, I believe it is, near New York. I can't remember the name, but she's really getting around there and getting a name for herself. So she'll be taking our Lyceum night next week, and then the following week she is actually with us in person here at Paul Church. So we're looking forward to meeting up with Sandra. In the meantime, any parting shots? Lisa, first.
That's putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking of the Schumann's residence earlier during the conversation. If you're not familiar with that, I call that the heartbeat of the earth, and it is vibrating faster than it ever has. And it's a whole interesting concept of how time is speeding up and the earth is speeding up. Mother Earth is vibrating higher, which I work in the hospital environment, and I see more younger people having heart attacks than ever before. And it's part of our responsibility as metaphysical beings to learn how our body, mind, and spirit work together, or we're not going to make it. That's where I'm at with that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ron, my darling.
Parting words, yes. I would like to remind everyone, as you're on this journey, please remember to be gentle with yourself, because we tend to be the hardest on ourselves when we feel like we're not making progress. The progress is taking place. It first has to start at a very microcellular level, and then it grows exponentially from there. So please be patient. Don't get aggravated and stay on the path, because there are so many incredible blessings waiting to come into all of our lives. Thank you.
Wonderful.
And one more thing, Phil, just send me a text message through my website and I'll reach out to you.
Yeah, Phil, I've messaged the link to you via Facebook. Yanis, good evening, sir. If you've just joined us, you're just in time to be too late. Yanis was a guest of ours recently and a guest here at the church, and absolutely, certainly a name to keep an eye on. I'll say it like that. He's a lovely chap, absolutely lovely chap. So you two, absolutely brilliant. You go out there. I suppose you're going to go and sit in the pool now or something. Oh,
yeah, it is heated.
Oh, go. Have you still got the giant iguana on the fence?
No, I got rid of all those.
Oh, right. We don't have that in the UK. Battling iguanas. Get off. Get off.
Oh, did I tell you it's a saltwater pool too? There's no chlorine.
No, not until just about 2 seconds ago. You didn't.
Okay, you're welcome.
Everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, Ron and Lisa, for giving up your time for us. It's so much appreciated. Brilliant topics coming in tonight. Very thought-provoking, wonderful. Everybody in the room watching us on Facebook and our friends on YouTube as well, thank you for your inputs. There's been some very interesting comments come in there, so thank you. We will say good night. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Until, don't forget, tomorrow morning you can watch a service live here at church at 11 a.m. GMT. And tomorrow we have one of our wonderful local mediums, Phyllis Rumney, will be taking the service. Phyllis was, what she's forgotten about spiritualism is more than probably what I've learned in the last 5 years. Amazing lady. So we're looking forward to that. In the meantime, have a wonderful night. Take care. And we hope to see you again soon. Thank you all.